Welcome to Popternative, where we dive into topical discussions from the worlds of pop culture, social media, and sports. Here is your host, Peter Remoliotis, aka PD Beats.
PD Beats here from Popternative. Speak to Braeden De La Garza about season 2 of Cruel Summer on Freeform and as well on Hulu. Welcome to the show, man. Thanks so much for being here.
Yeah, hello. I'm happy to be here.
I mean, it's pretty crazy, man, because I remember when season 2 of Cruel Summer was announced, right? And now episodes are finally rolling out. Isn't that crazy?
Yeah. I mean, I remember when I got the call. I mean, that was long enough ago, but the announcement was like a year before that, so it's been a while.
It's been a while. Episodes are rolling out. How's it been, kind of reception-wise, your family and friends? Like, it's always going to be a weird feeling, right? Like, you make something, you wait, and then the world gets to see it.
Yeah, it's been great. I think it's still it's weird getting used to knowing like every Monday at 10 p.m. a lot of people are going to be seeing my face. So that's interesting to like be walking around at that time knowing somewhere in the world people are watching me. But yeah, the reception's been great. We're all really happy with it. And yeah, every Monday we all still get together and we'll watch it all together as a cast. So it's been really cool.
Absolutely. And what can you tell me about like the audition process for this one? Because I feel like each audition process is different, right? Like, did you audition for the character you got? Did you audition for multiple roles? Like, I'm just curious about that.
Yeah, I initially auditioned for Luke. I think I auditioned for him back in like January of last year. And I'd gotten some feedback that they liked the tape. I wasn't the direction they wanted to go in, which is, most of the business. It's, you get that every day. But then I think it was like the beginning of April, they reached back out and asked me to read for Brent. And so I sent in a tape, and I think it was the next day, not even like 24 hours had passed, and they called and they said, we want to set up a Zoom with the producers and the director and everyone. So I got on a Zoom and did some more reading with them. And I think maybe 3 days after that, they booked my flight to Vancouver to go film. So it was a lengthy process from the first time I ever auditioned, but from the first time I auditioned for Brent, it was maybe 5 days, and then I was on a plane to Vancouver.
And I feel like people don't realize, like I have a lot of friends who are actors too. I mean, the job, like your job is to audition basically.
Yeah,
like,
for sure.
That's literally the job. And then when you book something, that's kind of when you can kind of breathe. You know what I mean?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, it's all auditioning. I mean, I think as an actor, you have to be used to really pouring your heart out in an audition and then letting it go and never thinking about it again, because that's 99% of the auditions that you do. And then when you do get a callback or when you do get a booking, it's kind of like an added bonus to the job.
100%. I mean, episodes rolling out on Freeform for season 2 of Cruel Summer, and then the next day they're available on Hulu, which is awesome. I mean, in terms of what the show is, this kind of realm, Braeden, of the whodunit, the thriller, the mystery, the crime.
Yeah.
I mean, that content's always been around. But there's been this like surge and boom in popularity for that content, I feel like, in the last like 5-6 years, so to speak. So what's that being said, what's that like working on a project like Cruel Summer at a time where there is such a big appetite for a lot of that whodunit, thriller, murder kind of content? I'm curious about that.
Yeah, I think it's great. I have some friends that are on different shows like that are, whodunits. And it's interesting, all of us kind of getting to experience watching each other's shows and seeing how things turn out. And I know as a cast, when we were shooting, it was cool just to kind of have our own whodunit in reading the scripts.
Yes, of course.
A lot of people, I think that, from the first time you book that role that you're going to find out exactly what's going to happen. But we didn't know until we shot the episode what was going to happen. So each week we were getting scripts and we were freaking out over them and figuring out what we thought would be the big, reveal at the end. And so it was months and months of us also kind of feeling like a viewer and reading along and trying to figure out what's gonna unfold.
Okay, so spoiler alert for anyone who has not watched even season 2, episode 1 of Cruel Summer. I have to say this because people will get mad at me. Okay.
Yeah.
When did you guys find out who was in the body bag? Like, did you know that even before?
That we knew pretty early because it was the first script. But I think that when we shot that, and when we all got cast, that was the only script they had. So they knew that Luke was the body, but past that, we didn't know anything. There. I mean, and there was still even up until the very end, we had tons of theories that maybe there were two bodies or maybe. All these different things, maybe, just all these crazy theories that were coming up that, we didn't get answered till the very end. So it was really cool.
It's interesting too, because that like episode 1 is like a reveal on its own for the audience because they want to know who's in the body bag, right?
Yeah. And I think what our show does a good job of is like, at the end of every episode, there's a big reveal. You get a little bit of payoff to keep you going every episode, and something to keep you guessing, which I think is really interesting and entertaining as a viewer.
Absolutely. And we're not going too far back in time, but we're going 20 years back, basically, Braeden. We're going back to the 1999, 2000s and everything. And I'm just curious, from an acting storyteller perspective, what is that mindset when you have to go back in time for a role? Like, are you focused on kind of like how he's going to look? What is he going to wear? How is he going to talk? Like, what is that kind of mindset preparation? I'm curious about that. Like, we're not going back that far, though. We're not going back to the Quest, right? The Quest was like way far back.
I think it's interesting. I've always kind of been a person of the mindset that like, when you're in the costume on the set, it just comes to you. Mm-hmm. Once you're in that environment, you kind of just feel it out. And I don't know that I personally did a bunch of research. Maybe I should have, but I was alive in 2000 for a few months. I was born in 2000, and I would always joke that like the clothes that I was wearing in the show were the same clothes I would wear when I was a baby, and all this kind of stuff. And I kind of remember the early 2000s a little bit, but a lot of it was just kind of like, you take what the script gives you, you're on set, you feel that environment, and you're wearing the clothes, and it just kind of comes to you as you're acting.
And what are the, if any, because I feel like this question, I always get like a 50-50. I get like there's not much. Like, is there chatting within the cast about the craft and the stories and everything? Because I know there's a lot of chat about other things, you're all friends and stuff, but like, are there any kind of discussions like before going and shooting scenes? Like, do you and Lisa have conversations? Like, I'm just curious about that, about like the script specifically.
Yeah, for sure. I think the first scene that I ever shot was a scene between me and Griffin. And the day before, I went over to his place where he was staying, and for a good 2-3 hours we went over our scene and really talked about our dynamic as brothers, and I think that it was kind of like that for everybody, where we really discussed a lot in the beginning about how we interact with one another and what our relationships are prior to what you see on the show. Yep. And then through that we'd have little check-ins and stuff, and some of the heavier moments that are in the end, we really go through them slow and make sure that we were all on the same page. So we definitely did talk about it, and I think it was great that we had a cast that was so close, that was, happy and open to talking about that, and really making sure everyone's on the same page. Because sometimes you get actors that, that they have their own preparation and they don't really care about anybody else. But we all were helping each other the whole way.
100%. I know. But I also feel like, just to kind of add to that, I feel like it's just, I know for a fact from some of my friends that worked on shows where they're just kind of, you show up, you're in the zone, and you just do your thing, right? Everyone researches and everything. But I feel like it depends on the environment and the set and the show too, right? Like,
yeah, for sure.
Which is interesting. Yeah. And I also feel like you look at a lot of, like, I want to know kind of about, like, whether you've been on a set once or thousands times, there's always going to be learning experiences from an acting storyteller perspective, right? So, like, for you on Cruel Summer, were there any specific kind of learning experiences or takeaways from an acting perspective?
I think one big takeaway that I've taken away, it's honestly every acting job I've ever done. I think for a lot of actors, especially starting out, if you're doing, lower budget things or non-union things, you kind of have this idea that once you get to a big show or a big movie, it's all going to be streamlined, super professional. You're all, it's all going to be hitting on all cylinders, no hiccups. And it's just not the case. The same problems that arise on a low budget film are going to arise on a big budget movie. There's always problems, always chaos. It's just how a set is. And I think that was a good thing for me to learn, to realize, like, there's never gonna be a set where I get there and it feels like the big leagues. It's always gonna be rough and gritty and fun, and that's part of what I like about acting. Because you could be on a $200 million movie and you're still gonna have people running around like chickens with their heads cut off, and it's just a good energy that you have on set.
You're like just thrown in, basically, right?
Yeah, exactly.
No, absolutely. And very quickly before we wrap up, episodes rolling out on Freeform and Hulu, season 2 of Cruel Summer. Obviously, escapism. You hope they're entertained and everything. But when they get a chance to watch season 2 of Cruel Summer, Braeden, what are you hoping they'll get out of it, takeaway wise?
I think. I've been saying this. I think honestly, I just hope people take away like a want for a season 3. I think that the storytelling structure of this show is so unique, and with the 3 timelines and the writing and the directing is so incredible. I think that whether I'm in it or not, because it's an anthology, I think that more stories need to be told through the lens of Cruel Summer.
That's a great answer. Absolutely. And like I said, season 2 of Cruel Summer, episodes on Freeform, next day on Hulu. Braeden, so great chatting with you. Thank you so much for your time.
Great talking to you too. Thank you.
Your Instagram account, if they just put Braeden De La Garza, they'll find it, right?
Yeah.
Awesome. Well, this has been Popternative, youtube.com/Popternative for previous episodes. Until next time, this is Braeden De La Garza, who you can catch in season 2 of Cruel Summer on Freeform and Hulu, and PD Beats signing off.
Thank you for tuning in to Popternative. Make sure to check out our past episodes of Popternative on YouTube. Be sure to like Popternative on Facebook and follow us on Twitter.
This has been an Autograph Communications production.